Feel like you're in the weeds in your work life? Well, today's the episode for you because we're going to talk all about how to get through that struggle. And of course, we'll ask the Life's Potluck Buffet card deck to help us out. I'm John Paulus. Thanks for listening. Quick update from yesterday. We talked about red herrings and that whole idea. I found out that today there's a little bit of a workaround with red herrings. See, the reason that in order for the herring to turn red, the smoking process takes a really long time, apparently. So, because of costs, apparently during the Second World War, the herring smokers, that's a good name for a bowling team, I think. The herring smokers took the liberty of shortening the smoking process and using food coloring to make the red herring red. And apparently that still happens today. I wonder if there's any red herring producer out there that still uses the long method. I bet there is someone or someone's out there that uses the long smoking process and ends up with non-dyed red herring. If you are that person or if you are that company, please get in touch. I'm interested to hear. Okay, so today's question is all about being in the weeds. And you see from the thumbnail, we've got a great kind of set of cattails and other rushes and marsh weeds to symbolize our struggles. And you can see that the sun is shining in the background and just above the horizon. So that's what we're looking to do, to say, like, how do we get through the weeds to the sun in the horizon and the rising sun there? So let's turn to the deck. I have card 48, find out how you act when things go awry. For some reason, the auto captions think I'm saying AR, like capital AR, when I say awry. It's not picking that up. I don't know if it's me or the auto captions. I'm going to give the auto captions the benefit of the doubt and say I say awry in a way that is confusing to the algorithm, but it may be the auto captions. Okay. So that was card 48. Find out how things go. So find out how you act when things go awry. And so we need a card to help us get out of the weeds and into that new horizon. So here we go. Oh, also, I thought of a profession. I just thought of this with the bowling team name, the herring smokers. I thought of a profession because I was thinking of bowling and sports. And teams. And a few weeks ago, I was talking about the Luther Vandross character, Zach of all trades, from the ABC children's public service announcements in the 80s for the, kind of workforce development and the future blob. There are links to that. You can search it as well. If you type in Future Blob, you will find it. And I was thinking, like, what profession has to do with roller skating? Because the main character, whose name I don't know, although I said I used the name Susie for her, but that's not. They don't say a name, or maybe in a different episode of the public service announcements they say the name. But like, for some reason, I got it in my head that was the name of this cartoon character, but I'm not sure that it actually is. But the episode starts with that character roller skating in, I think, listening to music on those kind of like a Walkman or those early kind of personal music headphones and so forth. So maybe it's just a radio. Yeah, I guess that the Walkman might have not come out yet. And I was thinking, is there a paid job that has to do with roller skating? And at first I was like, I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head. But thinking about the bowling team, I realized that maybe there's something to do with roller derby. where there's a professional roller derby, league or something where roller derby rollers, I think, is that the word for people who participate in roller derby? Is it roller? Let me know if you or anybody you love is a roller derby person. Let me know what you call a roller derby participant, roller derby professional. I think it's roller, but let me know. So that's a profession. Now, I'm glad that the Zach of all trades didn't go for the first thing there, where it's like, well, you like roller skating, and therefore maybe you should be a roller. I mean, that's really good work that Luther Vandross, as Zach of all trades, did in that, and we talked about that being a really good example of how to work through, and get through the weed. We've been talking about getting, out of the weeds. The first move out of the weeds is not the one that's going to get you to that horizon, to that sunrise that we have in the picture there. So it's usually the third thing. That's the third move is what gets you out of the weeds, and that's true when you're trying to help people out as well, in terms of their thinking about how they need to get themselves out of their own marsh and into the sunrise of their next step. So that is important to understand, that sometimes it's discouraging because that first step is not the one that immediately extricates you and frees you from the marsh, gets you out of the weeds. It takes a couple of other steps, and I'm really glad that the Zach of all trades character didn't just go with like the easy, the first thing. Oh, well, you like roller skating, there'd be a roller. That superficial reading is only that superficial thing. The first thing is only the first step. And remember that when you're involved in a struggle or you're helping someone else out with their struggle, that the first step is absolutely critical, but it's only the first step, and it's wonderful and should be celebrated. But the answer is a little bit, getting out of those weeds, a little bit more work. Okay, so all right, let's shuffle these cards. I'm going to do 3 casual shuffles where I rearrange top and bottom, put them in the front, and then I will do 1 large, grand, formal shuffle. All right. Okay, and then we look for the card that is sticking out. Oh, there's 2. Oh, well, why don't I just take both of them? All right, I pulled both of them because you know what? There were 2 that were exactly sticking out the same height. They were together, and here we go. Oh my goodness, it's cards 13 and 19. Remember the other day? I can't believe this. This is freaky. The deck is doing its thing again. It's card 13 and 19. Remember the other day I asked the deck for cards 13 and 19, and because it was the brood 13 and 19 of the cicadas that show up in the eastern part of the United States every 17 or 13 years, depending on the brood. If you haven't listened to that episode, then please do. It's, yeah. Well, anyway, so how do you like that? Today was the day. Remember, I had to recalibrate the cards also after that because we got cards 14 and 18 and they were one off. And so I was like, okay, so the cards are kind of one off. But how do you like this? Here we are, cards 13 and 19. So let's look at them. Card 19 is its only desperation if you have no actual strategy. So act in line with a plan. That's the key to getting out of those weeds, is having a plan. And what that really means is having a reason for getting out of the weeds. So that's a plan, a strategy that head towards a goal. So getting all of that together and thinking about that is a very good way to further the process of getting out of the weeds. And the second card, card 13, is think of your work life as a pie. That's another wonderful piece of advice for getting out of those weeds, because it's understanding your work life holistically, each aspect of your life, your family work, your paid work, your hobbies, your volunteer work, your self-care work, etc. All of it is work. And that's how we honor that idea that all things we do are work and worthy of honor. And thinking about our struggles as one of those pieces of that pie in that area that we're struggling in our work life, that will help put it into perspective, and that will also help us understand what its relationship is to the rest of our work life. Because all of these things are interrelated. They're intertwined. Why? Because you're one person, and we're all one person. I mean, not we're different people, but we're all one. Each one of us is one person. And that means that all the work we do is tied together. So those are the two cards for today. I can't believe that they're 13 and 19. Thank you, cards, for pulling out I guess you were just waiting for a good day for cards 13 and 19, and today was a good day. So those are the two pieces of advice if you are trying to get out of the weeds, and knowing that you will get out of the weeds and that each step is as important as the last, and celebrate as you go along, because that will help out a lot.